Welcome back. If you've been following along, we are now at 31 completed puzzles. We just finished probably our last 1600 level puzzle. We're entering the 1700 levels. This is where things really start to get hard. This is about where the point where I have to really start putting brain power to it and looking around the board very carefully. So hopefully we can get to 50. Typically, I haven't started messing up until we're at about 2000 or 2400 or so, depending on if it's a good day or a bad day. But I hope that we are able to learn some intermediate tactics. Perhaps some people would even refer to them as advanced. So let's check this one out. We start when we're really trying, if we don't immediately see it, we start by counting the material. So we have a queen and bishop for each side. Not much going on there. Other things to note are a passed pawn for white and a passed pawn for black. So we are going to then look at the targets. For black, we have a king. We have a bishop that is undefended. So if we could get like a queen here, this is where my brain immediately goes. If I could somehow get a queen here, it would be a fork, and we could take a bishop and be winning. We can't because there's a pawn in the way. What else? Well, we could get a queen here. If we could get this pawn to move, we could go check and take a bishop. That's another way to do it. And then finally, we want to look at vulnerable pieces or trapped pieces. And I see that there's a queen. I mean, that's a big prize. If you can figure out a way for her to be captured, then we should definitely be going for this. So I see, oh, we can attack her. And then she can move. Meanwhile, I'm attacking this. So these are targets here. And we have a bishop. Everything else is protected, overprotected, right? Even this pawn is attacked once, but is defended twice. So it's not a target. So we want to focus on these three squares. And I see that these are in a line. Do I have any linear moving pieces? Yes, the queen. Rook would also work. Not just looking at what pieces are on the board, I'm thinking about the lines first and then looking for the pieces. So if I had a rook, I would be thinking about that. So I have a queen. So we want to figure out a way to attack this pawn or overload it. We can do that in a couple ways. We can attack it one more time. We can attack something else with a double attack and attack it, something like that. Or we can block a line of defense while the queen is defending it. There is no square in between, so there's no interference tactic. If the queen were over here, we could try to think about putting something between it as an interference tactic. And we don't have that. So the only thing we have left to do is removing the defender. We would push this away somehow. This is called a deflection tactic. So we could try something like this. So we think that the queen would have to move. Where would it move to? We could see that it has to hold the pawn, but it can move to a square, like one of these two squares. It could also move potentially to the G2 square. So I don't see any of those being promising options here. But what else do we have available to us? I think we may have to throw it back to what we discussed earlier, which is the pass pawns. So let's see, can we queen a pawn? The thing that makes me realize this is the fact that there is a lack of other targets in the position and that we do, in fact, have a passer. So we could see something like this wouldn't work out exactly this way, but we'd see a pawn race here, here, check, take it, and black queens first. Unfortunately, though, we have control over that square, so we would just take the pawn with check. So this is not possible. So then we have to figure out a way, not for black to get counterplay with something like this, but a way for black to stop us from executing our plan. So maybe something like here. And then you immediately see the point of these two pawns being here is that the bishop can't block. Whoops, bishop can't block. Plus we're here. So we can push. This bishop is unable to cover the only remaining dark square. Guys, when you want to queen a pawn and you're fighting against a bishop, you don't need to look at the light squares. Just look at the color of the bishop. It's on a dark square. So we only have one more square to cross over before we finally finish finish defeating that bishop. So push. It can't cover here. So it's done. There's nothing the bishop can do to stop us. So let's try pushing, and can the queen stop us? Oh, look at that. I'm on the diagonal. What a coincidence. So the queen can't come on this diagonal. It can attack us here, though. So let's try to figure out what happens if push and the bishop and the queen comes here. Didn't we say that the queen was busy, though? Didn't we say that it had to guard this pawn with a check because of the what? Targets, right? We're targeting them. So because of these targets, this is the method by which we attack those targets is we actually distract. not deflect. Deflect would be like if I hit the queen. This is a distraction. We give a piece orders to do something more important, and then we're able to do something like this. And then I think we're taking here or we're checking or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't worked that part out yet, though. So let's do that. Push, block, take. But so what? How does that mean that I'm winning or anything? Because the king guards this pawn. So how do I increase my attacking abilities? I go check and then I come back. That's it. This is an escort mission. If you've ever played those in any sort of RPG or something where you have to escort the NPC, that's what this is, I think. I think we got to go check here and and escort the pawn up the board. In fact, because I think this may be also winning, maybe the computer doesn't make us play it. I think I'm ready to push the pawn, and we're going to see if I have to take this pawn first or if I can just go immediately there. Aha. So this is a simple one. I mean, this defeats itself. I can take, and we'll guard this square. Watch. And then, oop, there you go. And then my pawn runs. We already discussed how the dark square bishop can't get across the line. Okay, I'm black. This seems to be a fairly straightforward thing. Yep, it is. Okay. The thing to realize is the pawns are going this way. I think that's maybe why this is a high level tactic. This is just a simple mate in two. Not much to talk about there. Well, I would love to do this the slow way, but unfortunately, this is like marauding down the board. This is a bishop and knight and rook kind of checkmate idea. You can tell on the account of the fact that the king has no troops guarding it. There's a hanging bishop. So I guess let's do the targets here. Not a target because it's guarded by the bishop. Here and here. I have a knight under attack. There's a hanging bishop. I wonder if there's any way to save the knight and the bishop at the same time. Okay. So a fun formation for everybody to know is that when two knights stand next to each other, they actually make a really, really solid wall. Okay. And they do this on the other side too. Just looking at the knights alone. Look at those squares. They are an impenetrable fortress. I mean, the king cannot get through here. The only way in is this way. And then by then, the knights will have moved. All it takes is something to guard this square like a pawn. And then, don't forget, the knights go this way too. So you can see how powerful two knights next to each other are. Right? We just push a pawn. And actually, the king, no matter how many moves the king got, could never attack the knights. Fantastic. So I love chess. So we're going to go check again. Probably the king will move, and then we'll go like check or something. We just have to figure out the exact moves, huh? Have it? Yes, I think I have it. Pretty sure. So you want to start, this is what I call trimming squares, bringing other pieces into the attack. Usually, if you can walk the king toward the pawns will end up helping. And eventually, at the right time, you send a pawn up the board to give a check. So all we have to do is figure out a way to coordinate all of these pieces in the quickest way possible. I am wondering if I'm going to make a mistake by like finding a mate in two when I had a mate in five. Like I'll find the mate in five and the answer is a two. We'll see. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be rook check. King's only move is into the corner. And then anywhere I move the rook is going to be... Yep. Okay. This is precisely what happened. It is a mate in two from here. And I did find a mate in more. So I was going to go check. King. And then check. And the reason I saw this is because the rook holds the entire line. All I had to do is trim these squares one by one, and it would be made. So I was going to go check, king, pawn check, like I said, king, bishop, king, knight. However, I did miss the fact that this would hang the pawn and we keep going and things like that. So it turns out actually I'm going to pin the rook, or I'm going to pin the king. And then it's knight check. Knight check is checkmate. So it was a mate in two, and I was seeing too long of the line. So we have material: rook, queen, bishop, rook, queen, bishop, 5 pawns each. So we need to win. So what are the targets? King is always a target, and the bishop is undefended. That's it. That's all there are in the position other than these pawns, which aren't going to feature in this because we need to win more than just a pawn. So how can we attack that? Well, I see that if I get a queen here or here, that's going to be a mate pretty quickly, especially if it's on g2. So I want to fork g2. I want to fork this bishop. So I'm pretty sure it's just going to be boop. Now all I have to do is figure out if there is a counter move. Mate must be guarded. If you want to give me a queen, I'll take it. That's no problems there, no complaints. That's a winning position. So what else is there? Maybe there is rook f2. If there's rook f2, instant mate. Not take the bishop. In fact, I'm going to guess that's why this is rated a high level puzzle. I think people attack the bishop, the rook guards, and then they take the bishop. When what they should do is checkmate. So that could be it. Is there any other defense? Well, the king can't move. I guess the king could try to run away, but that doesn't seem like it's going to be fruitful. I would then just take the bishop, and then it's not like white has built an attack or something, because now the rook is blocked. So that's fine. Can the queen stop it? No, the queen cannot help. The queen cannot help. It can't come here because it's guarded twice. So that's got to be the answer, and I'm ready to play it. Yeah. So check, not a big deal because it's not a target. I'm just going to have to block it once. Do I want to block it once, or can I move the king? I think I just block it, right? I mean, that's not... White doesn't have any firepower here, so I think if I move the king, why can white stop us? Perhaps they just retreat and the game continues. Oh, it's a perpetual check. That's why. Perpetual check, I'd have to block with the queen, ruining our plan. So I do just block with the pawn, and that's the difference. I mean, I know blocking with the pawn is the right idea because it adds yet another attack, right? Oh, there's a wrinkle. Here guards the bishop as well. So then check, check. I'll go check, he'll go here, I'll go check, he'll go here. Or anything else I can do there? Block, back, check, king, check, king. What I would love to do would be pin. Maybe the answer anyway. It is. Okay, so if the queen had come back, I think I would hit it with this because it's coordinated with the queen. So now the king would not be able to run away because there's a rook there. So that was the answer. Now, can I just take your bishop? And I'm threatening mate, meaning I'm up a bishop and everything is fine. And if I take here, then you take my rook, and then I move, and then you take my queen. So yeah, I do have to take the bishop. One more time. If I take the bishop, I'm winning. If I take the queen, I'm going to lose my own queen after the rook because this is pinned. So let's take the bishop. Let's take the queen. Got it. 35 in a row. Ah, haha. Favorite idea. Favorite idea here. This is a type of back rank bump, which is so much fun. So much fun to do. You just have to do it in the right order. Uh, I'll show you both ways to do it. And one is the correct way. So let's count the material. We're down a piece. Everybody has 2 rooks and a queen, but there are 3 minors against just 2 minors. So we have to count the targets now. Here's one. Here's one. You would think the queen, but no, it's defended by the knight and attacked nothing. And here's one. It's attacked twice, defended twice. And then the king. Oh, look at that. We have shiny targets on a diagonal. So what that tells me is we need to deliver diagonal pieces there. And it turns out this is a back rank bump. We can shatter f7 and then immediately mate in the back. So how do we do that? Let's try with the bishop first. Check. King moves. And I don't have anything. The rook is a target. It's hanging in that position, but unfortunately nothing can take it. And if I play a rook to the back, it just gets traded. And then I have a mate threat, but that can be guarded by just simply, among other things, moving the bishop. We just move the bishop like somewhere here, and then the rook defends. The other option would be use the queen to do so. Guard that f8 square. So actually, the bishop doesn't work, and then one of the main reasons is it's not attacking the back rank. But this is the back rank bump plate, just like we've seen before. Oh no, our queen. Just kidding, this is pinned. We've bumped the rook off the back rank of control of the e8 square. You guys thought I was talking about f8, but actually we bumped the rook off of e8. Oop. Mate, the rook was pinned. Can't come back. Can't guard. You're pinned, sir. I am pretty sure I see this one. Let's do it the right way, though. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 rooks and a queen. Same for white. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 rooks and a queen. So, how can we push this along? Well, I can see that we have a target in the middle. We have a target right here. We have a target. We have a target. And my gosh, isn't that a lot of squares with a knight on it? Right? The knight goes here. It attacks the rook. It attacks the king. It attacks the pawn. But we also have a queen. And we have a bishop attacking the king. So we have to figure out one of two things. Do I take here, check the king and attack a rook, and lose the queen, but then this hangs? Or do I give up the queen first and reverse the move orders? Guys, if a tactic almost works but doesn't quite work, reverse the move orders. So we're going to draw the queen to this square, check. And then here's the thing. You think that like I'm going to take the rook, but I'm actually going to take the queen. So that's my idea. It wins 2 pawns. It wins this guy and this guy. We each lose a queen. So the question is that enough to be winning? Well, the king, after it gets checked, would be here. And then I'm threatening to go maybe this way? It's got to be winning because we are already up a pawn. So we'd be up 3 pawns, which is significant. The only question is there some sort of counterattack that works? I don't think so. I think I'm going to go for it. Oh boy, this may be the one I lose. No. Yep, I think it's just straight up winning. Yeah, it's just enough pawns. It's 3 pawns. It's good enough for the win. What do we have here? We are down a rook and a knight. So we must be checkmating. So here's our target. Here's our target. How can we make this work out in our favor such that we are able to win a bunch of stuff? My queen is attacked. So if I go this way, the rook will just take. But if I go this way, the knight will take. But I also have just a check. I have a check there, and then right. Makes sense. So check, only move. And now we look at checks, right? Checks, then captures. If check, it turns out this is the only move. Guys, anytime you're checking and they have an only move, you're probably on the right track. And then we have 2 different options. We have the queen takes, but then the king just goes back. And what do we do, guys? We make sure that we use the piece that is the farthest away. Check, check. And now do we use the queen? No, the queen's busy. We actually use the pawn. Pawn is farther away from the king. So let's get it closer. And it turns out that's checkmate. 38. We're almost there. I don't think I need to waste a whole lot of time on this. Target, target. How can I deliver pieces there? I could go queen, and then it just gets blocked with g6. So probably not that. There's a target over here, but it's not really featuring in the position. When you see something like this, where these things just haven't moved at all, chances are that's not where the tactic is. Could be, but probably not. This is just a common theme. This is called the Greek gift sacrifice. So we're going to take this here. King is going to come out. I'm going to check, I think. I'm going to check first. Yes, we'll check first. Oftentimes it's the knight, but that's usually because the knight is on f3. Has to get out of the way of the queen. Don't. The knight's usually in the way. That's why it has to check. And there's a whole bunch of study about it. What if the king goes to g6, you push a pawn and then check and stuff like that. So we're not going to cover that right now, but what we are going to do is sacrifice a bishop. We're going to use the queen, not the knight. And now we have a mate threat. Unstoppable mate. Queen will go to h7 next mate. Cool. Discovery. We already saw this kind of tactic before. We have a rook against a king, and we want to stop it from running away. So a double check, the king will have to move. So the king has these two squares available when the rook checks, right? We can control one of them, this one, by going here. But then the problem is the king moves away. So where are we going to go then? Doesn't really seem to work because I don't have a queen of my own, and I don't have any ability to check on that diagonal because the bishop is not there, right? It's blocked by that knight. So maybe instead I just go here and take the queen. So this is why we check the material. Two rooks for each side, bishop and knight. I'm down a queen. If I get a queen back, I'm still not winning because I only have 5 pawns. Did you see how I just played a 2000 level puzzle, but all I did was count the material, and I already know that winning a queen is not sufficient? A lot of players will just miss that. They won't even bother to count the material, and so they will be thinking that they must somehow try to win even more, but they don't. So how are we going to continue? How are we going to continue this with the knight moving? Perhaps we don't. Let us continue the puzzle. Check. Only move. Of course. Yeah. I was expecting this to be harder than it is, but this is actually just a very typical uh, knight and rook mate. So I'm going to guess it's a high rated puzzle because people take the queen and then they fail to notice they're still down material. They're still down, what would it be, 2 pawns? So that's why they missed the obvious checkmate. Yeah, thinking too hard, right? I should have just made it simpler. Count the material, I'm down a knight. I must checkmate, probably. I could win a rook or win a queen or something, and that would be mate as well. But what if I just decided to go after the king? So where's my obvious focal point? Don't just start slamming pieces down. Do it the correct way and look for the targets, specifically the king focal points. So what I see is that we have a target right here, g7, which makes me think that rook here is my reply. I don't see how black even has any move that really stops a checkmate in one. They must have to take this rook with a queen, but then I just take it back, and then they still don't have anything. If they block with the rook, you could take it with this rook, but actually it's faster to go check and mate. So this is why we look for targets 1, 2, and we say, how do we get straight moving pieces onto one of these two squares? Notice that these are not targets. They're defended. They're not attacked. So don't look there. I'm fairly certain it's here, and either we'll get queen takes the rook or we'll get queen takes rook. Is my thinking, and then the puzzle, and we just take that. Yeah. Now he'll block with the rook. No, game over. Even easier. Well, this is. I just have to figure out how to get out of check because this is mate in one. So I just have to figure out how to get out of it. What if I go back here and it takes my queen? So that doesn't seem to be it. So what if I just play over in the corner? Is this typical in such positions? Maybe here? No, because that's mate here. Knight can't move. We're down a lot of material. Down a rook. It's bad. So this is a checkmate. And under other circumstances, this would be a checkmate if it weren't to be unguarded. And this is a checkmate now. So we have boom, boom, boom. That's pretty good. We just have to figure out how to get out of the check. I don't see what's wrong with just king in the corner. What if king over and check here? And the game continues. So what's the philosophy here? How is this hard? I do not know. Maybe it's not. Yeah, I guess it's not hard. So are we just gonna mate? Can I just go here and here? Isn't that just mating? Think it out. We go check. This is hanging with check. So let's say king move is like here. Then I go check and take and check. This is illegal. The rook can't go back because queen just takes it. So let's take it from the top. Check, rook, mate. Check, king is illegal. Check, king only move. Rook takes, knight takes. Check again. If knight blocks, we take it. Knight blocks, we take that. So knight won't block. Then the king has to go backward or here. We also all usually have this bishop check. If any dark squares, we can take the queen. So like king here, check, or worse. I'm fairly certain it's our only move to do that. Now we take, I think. Pretty sure we take that rook and then take the knight. Yeah, that's it. Okay, it was mating after that. And there's nowhere for the king to go. And we have a knight and we have, I believe we could have used the bishop as well. That was the technique. We would have, I'm pretty sure we would have just taken no matter what. So, uh-huh. Interesting. This appears to be some sort of mating puzzle. Think I see it? Do I see it? Yeah. So this is looking for a king that cannot move. So we want to use the piece that is farthest away, and that is actually this pawn. I think if I go pawn, check, can't be taken because there's a knight guarding it. So it has to be en passant. And then we actually have check. And knight will block, and we'll take that, and that's checkmate. Mate in 3. I'm in check. I need to get out of checks. Should be straightforward. Why difficult? Not difficult. There's no checks. None of this is hard. Right? Correct. Yeah. That's a free one. I don't know why that's 2336. I wonder what anybody ever says. Just get out of checks. I am losing a queen because I am keyword, so I probably just have to checkmate somehow. How can we do that? Go check. Here. Check. Right. Hook and ladder mate. Pattern you just got to know. Also one of my favorites. Whoop. Let's go hook and ladder. Oh no. Why? Huh? Ah, right. If I check, it just goes back. That's it. Here, mate. Here, mate. Rushed it, everybody. Yeah, it's knight. The knight has to. Let's prove it. Fork. It's supposed to be queen takes. No. Yeah. Now queen takes. No. This one's more difficult than I thought, everybody. More difficult than I thought. Would love to go queen here. Cannot. Right. It is knight takes because you can't take my rook because knight comes back. If king takes knight check, I take your queen. So now I think I can go check maybe. Oh boy, do I take the pawn? This is a tough one. This is definitely a tough one because I have check, takes a rook, I take a queen, he queens, so that's out. Let's just take the pawn. Check, here, check, here, check. here, queen, here, checkmate. Is that it? Check, take, check, here. That ain't it. Yeah, yeah. Free rook. Yay, free rook. Also, all that knight moving was bunk because it's been. Aha. Okay. Well, we've redeemed ourselves. Do another one. I want to move the knight. I want to promote my own pawn. But again, if I push, take, black wins first, unfortunately. So I have to figure out how I'm going to take this pawn, I think. What if I go here, 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 and take the pawn? I could also go here, here, and take the knight. If I go here, this pawn requires defense by the knight. I go here, attacking this pawn. The black's plan is to shove a pawn down my throat and mate me. So I need to stop that from happening. That's why I do need to go this way, use the knight to block that pawn. Wrong. Okay, we'll have to take a look at that one as well. And then let's finally see what this one is. And we get to 45. 50 seems like a far off goal, but let's try to get to 45. What do we have? Materials even. So we can push the pawn, but then after taking it, our queen is attacked. So I think instead, we probably want to line up an attack on this pawn, perhaps. We have a target right here. We have a target of our own right here. We don't like that. And we have a target of the queen. So I probably want to line up pieces like this. Figure out a way to take that knight. Or can I just move the queen back and attack the knight? Retreating move, I take the knight. If I do that, how does white defend anything? He can't move the knight, so it has to go queen check. And then I push the pawn, and the queen still guards that. And nothing works like that. So I think that's it. Now I push the pawn, and your knight's attacked, and I just win the knight. Yeah. We did it, everybody. That's a 2493 puzzle, and we did it by asking ourselves where targets are. Like this. That is a target. This is a target. If we can just add an attacker to the rook, we can take it. So we do have a target of our own right here. So chances are we want to move and where our queen is attacked, and we have a target here. So we have whoop and whoop. And so we want to get a fork going. We want to figure out a way we can take this on and then somehow attack the rook. Like check and take. Fortunately, there's this. So we just have to figure out a way to make that like bad. How can we do that? Okay. Fairly certain we check. And then if king in the corner, we would trade rooks first, undefending that rook, and then check and take. This is one of those times where I was like, oh, check, take, it doesn't work. So I reverse the move orders. I take with the rook first. Then I check and take. Instead of check, take, rook takes, then queen takes. I just flip the move order around. So here we can do the same thing, right? Take, 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 check. Because this is a target and this square is attackable by my queen and bishop. So I can trade and then check. King goes in the corner and I fork. Seems to be right. And then we take. And that's actually going to be a checkmate, I think, right? Because the queen, the queen was there. But we're up a rook. That's all we need to know. Interesting. Well, I obviously have to take that queen or I'm down a queen. So go ahead and take it. Now I just run to this square, right? So another calculation tip, I'm on the E file, black is on the F file with white to move. So what we can do is we can fast forward to, if I just go up the row, I'm going to be here and he's going to be here with white to move, and I go here and then I'm promoting my pawn. So here, 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 here. And he can't do anything to stop me. That was easy. That's like one of the first things you learn. So I'm not sure why that was difficult. So I am playing black and we have to somehow win material. We're down some material, so I'm betting a lot of people go check, take the queen, and that's wrong for some reason. So let's try to work out an even better move. So the pawn is pinned. I don't actually need the double check from the bishop. I can go here, and there's no chance. Forget about the double attack. The pawn is pinned, so it's just take. So where can the king move right now? No, 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 no. And if that knight moves, no, 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 and no. Meaning this is the only open square. So as I said earlier, when you have an only move for a king, chances are you're in the right place for it. So what if we just stop that from happening? How can I stop this? What if I just go knight check? Mate in two, right? Yeah, a lot of people do. They go here and they take the queen without realizing that this square is the only square the king can go to. So can I just block it? Check. Seriously, what happens? The legal moves. Okay, you can't take my bishop. You can block and I'll take it. You can block and I'll take it with the bishop either way. And that's mate. That's mate. Check. That's mate. 48. Can we do it? Can we do it? Check. It's a check and a capture. We're going to check that. So I have three minor pieces. They have three minor pieces. We just got a queen and a rook. So check, take, check, and then light square or dark square, I guess. Well, maybe I check with the knight first. Here, here. So this is easy. I'll show you this. Check. If you don't take the bishop, it's mate. That's easy. Check. You must take the bishop. I can go knight check, or I can go knight check, or I can go queen check or queen check. The second one seems silly, so we'll start with that one last. You heard me, right? Start with that one last. Okay. Take, check. Two legal moves. So we can threaten this. I am threatened to losing my bishop here. I'm not quite sure that that check works out very well. Hmm. Because I don't have very good follow-up checks. I check here. King goes into the corner, and then I don't have any dark square pieces to attack it with. But what I do have, because I don't have any dark square bishop or a rook on that square, I'm going to need to use the queen to attack the dark squares, which means I go like check here. But the problem is the knight blocks. And I don't really have a good response to that. But what I can do is take, knight check. Now the knight is coordinating with the queen on the h6 square. When you can move a piece forward and coordinate with a piece in the back, that's usually a really good idea too. So when I move the queen up, it doesn't really help too much to coordinate. But if I move the knight up, we're coordinating on the dark squares, which is something we need because we gave up our dark square piece. So a take, check. If up, this is mate right away, mate in one. So we're not going to do that. So the king is going to move over here. That's also mate in one. And then it's also mate in one if he goes in the corner. Okay. Take. This is how it's going to go. Take, knight check. And then king back in the corner. Queen check. Knight blocks, mate. And then mate. Ooh. Interesting. Name down a bishop and a bunch of pawns. If I could get a queen here, it's mate. I can go check. King goes here. I get check. King goes here. I go check. King goes here. I don't have any more good checks after that. That's potentially not it. But what if? I think I have it, maybe. Let's say knight checks. King goes here, and I go here. Hmm. Then you take my knight, and the same thing happens. So that's not it. Knight goes somewhere else, though. What if the knight goes somewhere else? One of the key ideas here is that the queen doesn't have any checks against me. The only check are this bishop, and I can just take that, and there's still no checks. Or like I could just dodge it. I could just dodge that check. No big deal. We are solving 2700 level problems at this point, guys. That's fun to me. Right. Right. So, knight check here. And the difference is this guards the pawn. Knight check. King here. Queen comes over about to checkmate on this square. How can it be defended? Check. I move. And then I don't see any way to dodge that, so the king would have to run away. But then, hmm, you check here, 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 here. Check this way. Pawn takes. Check. I can't run away. No, that's not it either. There's got to be a way to move the knight out of the way, guys. Let's see. There is the fact that the bishop is attacking my queen, so any check actually doesn't work, which means I might want to push this pawn, except for the fact that that's checkmate right away. So I may have to just move the queen in, period. I may have to move the queen to a different square. These don't work, so it must be this one. But then I get attacked again. Then I go knight check. This is the 50th puzzle. I really want to get this one right. I cannot afford to take the g3 bishop because I lose a knight and then the game. So I must have to try to like win a bunch of pawns and then queen my own pawn or something like that. I probably use this as a pivot point. Now the fact is, this is technically a back rank formation. You would think that this would be easier just to figure out a mate, but the knight's in the way. So I think I have to play here. Feels like the only move. And then if bishop is attacked, I go check. And then the king goes here. And then I go check and take the pawn and its mate. Is that really it? Queen here. The reason I found that is because there's no other option to save the queen who is under attack. And I can't lose the knight, and I can't go here. So I'm pretty sure it's it. It is. Thank God. Now, only one move works. Well, if I go here, I get checked. So that's not it. And if I go here, am I okay? Should be. If I take the bishop, what happens? I don't see why that's it. Oh, I get checked along the rank. Check. And I move back. Then what? So what? Maybe another check again. So what if I just go away? I think I do just sidestep this because the difference is the knight. When the knight comes here, I don't need the knight anymore. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna. It'll be check. He'll move, and I'll go take here and mate. So I think I can just move out of the way. King h1 wins the game. Does King h1 win the game? Yes. I can just take that. I don't think that's an issue. That's it. 50, baby. We did it. We did it. Took me a while. Two wrong answers. That's a 27-26. That's tough, man. I'm so happy that we finally got that. And I'm so happy you guys came along the ride with me. I hope that you got something out of this. I think we're going to stop right there. I'll see how far I can go. But for right now, I think we're just going to rest on our laurels, celebrate the 50. I'm glad you came along with me. Hope you enjoyed this one.